Hello, everybody. Today I am having my second go at the Petri effect in resin. Now, earlier this week I attempted this effect, and if you watch the video I posted on Wednesday, you'll realize that it did not go as I hoped. I had a few challenges, I made quite a few mistakes, and so I wanted to redo this experiment or had a second go at it today to see whether or not the mistakes that I made can be corrected. I'm also coming in with a little twist today. So what happened is that in the video that was posted on Wednesday, I used glass. I added glass to one of the pieces and I loved how it turned out. So I will be adding glass to some of these pieces too to see if I can create the same effect that it did. So to create this effect, we need to first put some clear resin in the different cavities of our mold, and that's what you see me doing here. We also will need alcohol inks, and again today I will be using DIY alcohol inks. Now the alcohol inks that I will be using in this project are different from the ones that I used in the previous project. So I am a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie. I have not looked at the results as yet, but I think I have cause to be a little bit nervous. So hopefully everything turns out fine. So after pouring the clear resin in the mold, I am just spritzing it with a little bit of alcohol to pop any surface bubbles. And then as you see there now, I am adding glass to a few of the cavities. I don't know how it's going to look, especially given that I'm not using the same alcohol inks. So I'm being a little bit cautious, but I'm adding glass to a few of the pieces. I am quite excited to see how these pieces will turn out. And those glass that you see me, the crushed glass there, I did it myself. It's very easy to do. If you have a glass bottle around your house, which you very likely do, all I did was clean it, crush it, and here it is. So that's a money saving hack right there. There are so many things that we can do ourselves in resin to cut the cost because resin is a very expensive hobby if you're a hobbyist. So immediately after putting in the clear resin and adding the glass to the molds, I am coming in now with my DIY alcohol inks. And that is something that I'm doing differently from the last video. If you're watching this and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed because there's so many things on the screen right now, I apologize because it gets a little bit more chaotic. So a mistake a mistake that I came here with in this video, I brought over from the last project into this project is to mix too much resin, and so I had to use up all of it, right? Because the last project I had some resin flash curing on me and that was a waste, but I still mixed too much. And I suppose I was just a little bit too ambitious because I mixed all of it. I took out so many molds to use, so I think I mixed it on purpose with the intention of making all of these pieces, but I soon realized that it was just too much. And so, a word of caution, especially if you are taking on something new, go in small. It's okay to mix a little bit of resin to just do a little, a little bit of, well, a few pieces to see if it works. And if it works, then you can scale up. But don't do what I am doing here. That's something I definitely need to work on. Alright, so you just saw me dropping in some alcohol inks, and those colors, I loved how they look together. I do feel though that the alcohol inks were not very vibrant or very strong. And another thing that I didn't like is that the whites was pouring out of the needle tip bottle, and I'm not sure why that was happening. So I went in, I did the best that I could. What you see me doing here now is putting in some glitter alcohol inks. Basically, I just put glitter in that bottle, added some alcohol to it, and so I'm trying to kind of using it to make stars. And what you just saw there was the little circle at the tip of the bottle falling into one of the pieces. And that actually happened quite a few times during the project before I realized that I need to just pop them off before I attempt to use them. But that was the least because it did not do any damage. Something to note though is that I had to rush this entire project. Well, the dropping in the alcohol ink part, I really had to rush it because I had so many pieces to do, and I did not want a repeat of the last project where I took too long to drop in the alcohol ink. So I wanted to make sure that there was enough time, the resin was still liquidy and runny so that the alcohol ink can interact with the resin, dance around to create cool effects in the resin. So that was something I was concerned about. And that is one of the reasons why I'm so nervous to do the unmold. As soon as I record this voiceover, I will be going to see the results. And of course, I'm going to take you along with me. Did you notice any mistake that I made? Any other mistakes that I made in this video? If you do, I welcome your constructive criticism. One concern that I have is the white alcohol ink. It's especially looking pale, and so I worry that it's not going to create the effect very well. The alcohol inks that I did on Wednesday's video, they were brighter, they were richer in color, so I'm a little nervous about these ones. Although the purple and the pink and that blue there, the colors were vibrant enough. I do feel though that maybe the white was a little bit too light colored. All right, I think this is the last piece that we need to drop alcohol ink in. All of this dropping in the alcohol ink took quite a time. It may have taken like 9 minutes to get it all done. And the pour took about 7 or 8 minutes to get that done. So we are sometime into the project by now. I did have a little bit of leftover resin, so I decided to do a little experiment to use up what was left. So we'll see how that turns out. This is about 10 minutes after I did the added the alcohol ink to the final piece. And this is how it's already looking. If you looked at the final piece, you'll see that the alcohol ink is already shrinking inside. So I did the test to see whether or not it was okay to stir. So I just basically tipped the stir stick into the resin, and if it was stretchy, then it was time. Most persons who I've seen do this, the gurus of the in the resin industry on YouTube, they wait an hour, but I can't because I live in Jamaica. I live in the heat, so I have to know how to amend these recommendations based on my personal circumstances, and that's what I recommend for you too. So I am basically just making a little swirl in the pieces. In some of them, I make more swirl, or I do a little S, a very long S, or multiple S's linked together in the pieces. And that's basically it. For the ones that had in the glass, I think I just poked down because I was not able to do any swirl or any circle or anything like that. And in doing this swirl, I could tell that some of the alcohol inks had sunk down into the resin and were in like little clumps. So I stuck the stick in to try and separate them a little bit. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so nervous about the demold. So after the pieces had cured enough, they were solid, I just came in with some 2-part epoxy that I colored black to back them. And this is what we had at the end of it. Notice that square green beside the heart to the right bottom of the piece. It's the only one that I'm seeing colors into the black pigment. So I'm not sure what was going on there. So it's now been an hour since we last spoke, and I have already demolded, so I'm just going to show you the footage of that. The first thing I did was to check if the pieces have cured properly, and they did. So thankfully, so I get to demold them. So this is the first piece, and You can see there's a lot of blobbing on it, which just means that a lot of the ink sunk down to the bottom or to the face of the pieces. So because there are so many pieces to unmold, I just sped up this part. But in almost all of them, there was blobbing. So that tells me that perhaps there was too much white in it. And also, I need to point out that the oh, this piece is the glass. This piece has glass in it. It's not the visuals are not so clear, so I have included pictures at the end to show you what they look like up close. So really, the Petri effect, I don't think we achieved the Petri effect here, but the pieces still turned out beautiful. What I observe is that the effect look more of strings. It's kind of stringy rather than looking like a feather, which is what the Petri effect looks like. So I I'm not sure if I'm disappointed, to be honest, because the colors of these alcohol inks are just so stunning, and I am in love with them. So even though they did not come out perfect, um, I still love them. And I don't know. Yeah, so the photos kind of show you up, gives us a better view of the pieces. They don't look like the Petri effect, but they are still stunning to me. And these are the pieces that has the glass in them. They're very shiny, and I don't know, I just love the little look that it gives. All right, so you can tell me whether or not you agree with me. I appreciate your feedback. So even though we did not achieve the Petri effect in this one, I love the results too much to complain. So I am not going to give up. I'm still going to try and find a recipe to do the Petri effect. And I think I have an idea how to fix my white alcohol ink. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. Anyways, this was an exciting project. I'm very happy I did it, and I hope you find some excitement in it too. Please come back, please stick around. You can watch more videos on our channel. But even if nothing is there now that excites you, I promise exciting stuff are coming. So don't go too far. All right, thank you so much. Bye.